everyone. We're just going to give folks a minute or two to join, and then we will kick this right off. So just sit tight as people continue to join, okay? Okay, we can go ahead and get started. Just a few ground rules here. First of all, everything will be recorded and then published on the StayFi YouTube channel after we're done. So if you miss anything or want to go back or watch again, that will be available and sent to everybody. Also, if you have questions during the webinar, please use the Q&A section of Zoom, not the chat, just because the Q&A will keep questions nice and sorted for us so we can go through them when we get to the end. And with that, we can get started. And I'm joined by Christos from Hosthub. Today, we're going to be covering from management to marketing, transforming guest data into direct bookings. My name is Arthur Kolker. I'm the founder and CEO of StayFi based in New York City. And then Christos, do you want to just quickly introduce yourself and then we can get started?
Yes, hello all. We're very happy to have you all here today in this webinar. My name is Christos Lolas. I'm heading the product team in Hosthub, and I'm responsible also for the partnerships and the integrations between Hosthub and partners like StayFi and Arthur's product.
Awesome. Yeah, and first I'll just give a little background on StayFi, and then we'll jump into the meat of the presentation. Just so everyone knows, StayFi is a technology company that's mission is to help every short-term rental operator of any size achieve a more vibrant, independent, and profitable brand. And the way that we do that is by helping operators both collect and monetize guest data. So we collect guest data through a captive Wi-Fi splash page, very similar to a coffee shop, hotel, airport, where every single guest has to enter their information and give you permission to market to them in order to access the Wi-Fi when they join the Wi-Fi for the first time. And then we have all the tools you need to follow up with those guests, drive upsells, drive repeat bookings through email, SMS, and other channels. So yeah, just an overview. We first help you collect data. We also help centralize guest data, not just from the Wi-Fi, but we'll also integrate with Hosthub and pull relevant guest data into StayFi. So we're really centralizing all your data into one CRM that you can use for marketing. We have all the email and text tools you need to create, text campaigns, beautiful templates so that you can follow up with every single guest and make sure they know how to book direct with you and not come back through a third-party channel like Vrbo, Airbnb, or Booking.com. We also have some great tools that elevate the guest experience. We'll alert you if the Wi-Fi is out. We'll let you know if there's too many guests in a property, more than are booked in Hosthub, for instance. And then finally, at the end of the day, we're going to make sure every guest leaves knowing your brand and how to book directly with you so that every single time they want to return, they're coming to you directly and not going back through one of the third-party channels. Now I'll hand it over to Christos, who's going to introduce and talk a little bit more about Hosthub, and then dive more specifically into their awesome direct booking and website building features.
Thank you, Arthur. I will introduce you a bit in the Hosthub product. Also, we will have a short presentation about direct bookings and some general guidelines and some insights regarding direct bookings. And then I will leave to Arthur the more marketing-related stuff and the StayFi product-related stuff to finish this presentation. So Hosthub, our product is mainly a channel manager and a PMS. This is the core functionality of our product. And we are also offering side products like the website builder, booking engine, revenue booster, that can come as a bundle using our product, or also can be configured separately as optional products. Our PMS, our property management system, has various features. We have the unified inbox feature, which collects all the messages from Airbnb and Booking in a common single place, so that you can have all your communications managed from a single place inside Hosthub. We have team management features so that you can have your team access all the functions of a PMS by assigning specific roles and specific permissions so that everyone sees what is of interest for him and nothing more than that. We have expense management features where you can record your expenses and you can have a profit and loss reports so that you have a solid financial view of your business or your rentals. We have an extensive set of reports for all the important metrics for an STR business, for a short-term rental business. We support automated messaging, which is tightly integrated with our unified inbox feature right now with full templating capabilities and variables and scheduling of these messages. And also, we support more than 40 integrations right now with third-party systems in all aspects of the STR industry, from smart logs, from automated access to task management and cleaning management, smart pricing, marketing, and check-in and guest experience products, and of course marketing, as I said, like StayFi. We also, these are two, let's say, samples of our environment, of the product, our product environment, how we configure our channels. We currently support 5 channels using direct API connections. These are the biggest, let's say, the main channels: Airbnb, Booking, Vrbo, Expedia, and WordPress sites, as we will discuss maybe later. And also you can see that we provide all the synchronization capabilities for availability and for pricing and rates, synchronizing everything to all the connected channels. Now, let's jump into direct bookings. I will try to explain and give you some insights on why you need direct bookings, why it is good to have direct booking sites and the direct booking, let's say, stack in your business, and why this is good for your business. Let's go to the next one. First of all, let's see some data. The top graph gives us some data on the number of channels in our platform. Both these graphs are for data that are from hosts that have accounts in Hosthub right now. And as you can see, the direct channels, let's say the website or whatever, what other booking engine you may support, is a significant portion of the total, let's say, channel mix. A huge increase, very of the channel mix and the abilities that you have to advertise your rentals. The most important thing is the bookings per channel. This is a report which counts the percentage of bookings, the number of bookings that we get in Hosthub, and we measure them we measure the channel from which they came. As you can see, 16% of the bookings that we get right now in Hosthub are from direct bookings. Of course, Airbnb has the biggest part of this, and also Booking, which is 44 and 26, but the 16% is a very, very, very big number, okay, for direct bookings. And of course, 16% of your revenue may come from direct bookings. We expect this number to increase again as we proceed. But even in these numbers, it is a big part of the whole mix. Now, what is the reason? What are the pros? So actually, what is good when you have a direct booking site compared to the OTAs and the big channels, let's say, and the channels that you pay, and the marketplaces for rentals in general? So the first thing and the the most important of all is that you have some financial savings. And this is pretty obvious to most of you, because when you have a direct booking site, you save all the commission fees that you pay to the OTAs. So you can boost your bottom line this way. And of course, reduce all your costs. Direct bookings also have some sort of costs. Of course, they do not come free of charge, but the costs to build and maintain a direct booking site are much lower than the commission fees that you typically pay to the OTAs. The second reason is that you have greater control over your listings. You have more controls from how they look like, how they are presented to the guests, what policies you want to enforce, so you are not tightly connected to what the OTAs decide on regarding the presentation, regarding the policies, and all these kind of things. You have a full control of all those aspects. You can also, having a direct booking site, you can also build loyalty and repeating businesses and repeating guests. You can offer some incentives, some loyalty schemes. You can offer some discounts for guests that are coming again and again, and they love your house, you love your rental. Or you can also provide some value-added services, some extra services from your rental, having a direct booking site. Again, having the full control of it, and how you present it and how you sell it. The fourth is that you have some sort of independence and diversifications. Direct bookings and direct booking, let's say, tools provide a level for diversification, and they lessen the dependence of external platforms. So you don't need to follow, let's say, the decisions that the OTAs make in all aspects of your business. Let's go to the next one. Number 5 is a flexibility in payments options. When you are using an OTA, you have a single payment option in most of the cases, at least for the big OTAs. You need to be paid by them. Having a direct booking site gives you more options on how you are get paid. You can use many payment gateways. You can be paid. You can have any payment model that you want with any framework or any tool that you want to use. And also number 6, you have immediate access to your funds. Actually, you can be paid right away after the check-in or at the booking time. You are not again bound to when the OTA decides or what the policy of the OTA is for your payments. There are some OTAs that may pay you pretty fast, but there are other OTAs that may take some time before they release your payments to your account. So this may take time, and this may affect your cash flow. So having a direct booking site you can have full control of how you are getting paid from your guests. And number 7, and this is also very, very important, when you have a direct booking site, you can build a brand around it. Actually, and this is something that you cannot do if you are only working with OTAs. Having a brand name, brand logo, which gives you many, of course, marketing tools, okay, to promote your rentals, and also, let's say, link your brand with the quality of your work, the quality of your rentals, the quality of the services that you provide to your guests. And this is very, very important, a very, very, very important thing that you can only do when you have a direct booking tool set. Now, if you don't have something, what are the steps that you need to follow in order to build a direct booking service, let's say, in order to be able to provide your services using direct bookings, direct booking services. The first and foremost is to create a website. Okay, this is the most important thing. You need something to promote your rentals, and this can be nothing more than a website. The second thing is that you need a booking engine. Actually, these two are not the same. Many people may confuse them, but a website, a direct booking website is not always the same. Actually, it does not come always together with a booking engine. You can have a booking engine separately from a website. We will discuss it later, but only having just one website without the ability to make bookings through it will not work, of course. And also having just a booking system, booking engine will not work if you don't have a website. So these are the two more core aspects, core modules of a direct booking system. When you have these, you have a website and you have a booking engine, the next thing that you need to do is to try to advertise it, okay, to make people come to it, visit your direct booking system and start making bookings. The first thing that you need to do is search engine optimization. You need to make your website searchable. And this is a whole science, okay, around it. There are a lot of technologies and skill sets and professionals that do this work. Actually, you need to be able, this website, to be as visible as possible to various search engines. We need to note here that having a direct booking website compared to an OTA has this disadvantage, the marketing part, as maybe Arthur will explain also later. OTAs gives you a booking engine, gives you some sort of website to promote your images, to describe your rental, etc. But the main thing that they are selling you is their ability to promote your site to as many people as possible. So if you want to be able to compete with OTAs, you need to have a very, very solid marketing strategy. And for a website and the booking engine, this starts with search engine optimization so that you can be searchable. The next thing is that you need to have informative and engaging content. Of course, this you may also have it in OTAs, but when you have a website, since you have full flexibility on how you will build it, then you may need to spend some more time and effort so that you can make your content more informative, more engaging for your guests. You will also need to use all the marketing tools that you can use and are in your disposal right now. Social media marketing, Facebook, LinkedIn, or any other social media that you may use. Email marketing, of course, and Wi-Fi marketing, of course. I will not get into details because Arthur will explain them later in more details. And of course, Google Ads, Facebook Ads, all these kind of digital marketing tools that are available right now. You may also, of course, it's not mandatory, but you can also, in order to be able to to have an optimal, let's say, operation in your direct bookings, you may need some loyalty programs, offer some discounts, some offers to your loyal customers or your repeating guests. You will also need a review system. Actually, when you have a booking engine and website that is targeting in short-term rentals, a review system may come with it. So you just need to promote it and ask your guests for reviews. You need to provide clear contact information because when you have an OTA, OTAs provide some messaging systems so that you can use in order to contact your guests. When you are using direct bookings, you may need to implement also tools and channels for your guests to communicate with you. The most simpler of them is the simplest of them is the email, of course. So you need to be able to accept and send emails, but you can also have more exotic, let's say, methods like chat, in-app chats, chats that are existing in your website, or communicate using WhatsApp or other messaging systems. So this is very, very important in order to be able to operate a direct booking site. And also, of course, have transparent pricing. Do not have hidden costs. Try to display the cost structure, your discounts or your fees or your taxes, everything that is related to your pricing, to be up in front and be visible to your guests, because it's very, very important aspect for guests when they are trying to make a booking. Let's go to the next one. Now, why there are some of these slides is because there are some questions. Why do I need a website? Because I have many bookings through my phone. Let's say my guests, they find my phone somewhere in the internet, and they with a phone call, actually, they can make a booking. Or send me an email, or find me in social media. Actually, even social media, even with an email, in all these cases, you need a website. You need to direct your guests somewhere so they can make the booking and pay for it. So this is very, very important. But apart from that, from some data that we have collected, we have seen that almost half of the bookings come directly through your website. Actually, from advertising to social media or email advertising on all the marketing activities that you follow, all these come to your website, and the booking is done directly from the booking forms that they see in the website. This is around 43%. Phone calls is 12%, emails is 18%, and social media is 27%. But these two, social media and website, we can add them because social media typically can send your guests to your website. And of course, as we described earlier, you have no booking fees at all. You can create your own brand again. You can take control of your marketing, control the experience of the guest, and control also the policies and the rules of your short-term rental business. Now, okay, let's say that you decide to build a direct booking site. What can you do? Actually, there are three options that you have. The first is to hire an agency. An agency is a business professionals, typically marketing professionals and technical professionals that they design both the marketing strategy of your direct booking site, and also they implement your website and booking engine. The second option is to have a subscription service. Let's say go to a platform which you can use to very easily and very fast build a website on your own without having to know any coding, to have any coding skills. You just go to this subscription service like WordPress or many other platforms that exist right now, so that you can easily build your website on your own. And the third one is to build on your own from scratch. Actually, do all the coding, okay, have full flexibility, of course, do all the coding and start working on it, or hire some single professional or some in-house staff to do this for you. There are some pros and cons for each one of those options. I will go through them very, very fast. If you hire an agency, you typically have high quality because you hire highly skilled professionals, that this is what they do actually. So most probably you will have a high quality website. It does not require any effort from you, actually very low effort. You just need to provide some guidelines and maybe some content to them, pictures, etc. And all the rest of the work will be taken care by the agency. And also you keep your site because the agency will build it and will host it to a server, some sort of server in the internet, but then the site is yours. It's your ownership. They don't own your site, they just build it. The cons for the agencies is that typically they are the more expensive options of all three. You need to do some research to find the right agency. If you don't have some partnership in place, then you need to have some research to find the right agency for you. And the cost is not very predictable, okay? Because when you start building a website with an agency, the costs may raise or may lower, so you don't know upfront what the final cost will be to build a website. If you use a subscription service, then the effort is, of course, higher because you are doing it yourself, but since you are not doing it from scratch, it will take more time, more of your time, but not too much. There's no need to worry about hosting because typically these platforms take care of all the hosting in their own servers. So you just build a website and it's public on the internet almost immediately. Usually it's bundled with a PMS. If you have a PMS like Hosthub or like Hosthub or other products, many of them give some sort of a website builder, and booking engine capabilities. The cons are that you have to pay every month. They typically have a subscription model. You don't keep your site if you leave the service. This is very, very, very important. If you use a subscription service, a platform for website building, or even a PMS that has this, the website and direct booking feature tightly bundled with it, then if you leave this platform, you leave the subscription service, if you leave the platform or the PMS, then you need to leave the website behind. You can not take it with you. Just forget it. And also there is difficult to migrate. So you have a website that is already built to another platform and you need to move around platforms. Then the migration is not very easy to do. It may take some time and money. And finally, when you want to build your own direct booking system, this is probably the cheapest possible option because all the work will be done by you. So, okay, it's cheaper in terms of money. Of course, not cheaper in terms of time, but you don't need to spend money on it. Of course, you have full ownership of the website, even for hosting. Everything is in your own, it's your ownership, the designs, the content, the code, everything is around you. No, there's no intermediate, so everything is on you. And of course, this gives you the maximum possible flexibility. But of course, if you are not a very highly skilled professional, the quality is not guaranteed that is okay. You will most probably do not so good job as a professional or an agency. There is a steep learning curve. You need to learn a lot of things, technical related, marketing related, content related, in order to be able to build something from scratch. And of course, it's not for everyone. You need some sort of coding skills, marketing skills, content creation skills. So you need to have some, let's say, knowledge that either you have it or you need to build it as you proceed. If you're interested, we have, if you want to do it from scratch, actually you want to do it on your own, we have a helper article in Hosthub that may help you to start this journey. Actually, we can share it with you when we will share the presentation, so you can take the link and get all the step-by-step instructions that we suggest in that case. Let's go to the next one, Arthur. Now, how can Hosthub help you with that? Actually, Hosthub has two products that can offer. The one is called Website Builder and the other is called Booking Engine. From the three options that I described earlier, Hosthub sits around the agency. If you are a Hosthub customer, okay, you can buy the website builder service, okay, which costs around $799, which are paid once. And in that case, when you buy this product, Hosthub team will build your website. Okay. We will build it, let's call it as an agency. Okay, we will design the website, we will take the content from you, we will build everything, we will arrange for the hosting, we will discuss with you where you want to host it, all the servers that we will need to use. So we will provide you a website, but this will not be bundled with Hosthub. And this is a big difference that we have with other competitors, with other PMS and channel managers who that typically have their website tightly bundled with the rest of the system. So if you go to one of these products and you build a website with them, if you want to leave this product, then you also need to to forget about your website. You need to build your website from scratch. With Hosthub, when we build your website, you take full ownership of it. Okay, we just build it and give it to you. Okay, and in that case, if we don't want to do for this to happen, but if you want to leave Hosthub at some point, then the website stays with you. Okay, you don't need to migrate it or to use another tool to build a new website from scratch. Let's go to the next one. We also have a booking engine service, okay, and these two come separately. Booking engine is the system that handles all your bookings, okay, is these forms that you put the check-in, check-out dates, number of guests, and all this kind of things. And booking, you pay through the system, and then you have all the communication and all the financial, let's say, exchange and all these kind of things. Booking engine typically should be part of your direct booking system along with a website, but it doesn't have to be also very, very interconnected with website. So this is why we're offering a booking engine product so that we can help you have a booking engine built by Hosthub with a cost of one-time cost again of $599. And when you have this booking engine built by Hosthub, then you have the ability to build your website using any other system. So you can use an agency, a third-party agency, to build your website and just use the booking engine that Hosthub provides to you. Or you can build your own website and then use the booking engine that Hosthub provides to you. So you are very flexible on, you have two options. You can hire Hosthub to build the website and the booking engine, or you can hire Hosthub to build the booking engine and build the website with any other option that you may want to follow. Why is very important for Hosthub to build the booking engine? Because when we build the booking engine, this is very, very tightly integrated with our channel management. They work very well together. So using the booking engine that Hosthub provides is very easily to synchronize this with rates and availability and avoid double bookings. So it's like having yet another channel. So everything is very seamless. There is no connectivity problems. There's nothing like that. So it's very important to have the booking engine with Hosthub, and then optionally, you can also have the website also built by us, again, with one-time cost, and then it's your own. That's it for me.
I think that's so awesome that you guys, it's only a one-time cost, because I feel like from almost every other system I'm aware of, they're usually add-on subscriptions, right, for the booking engine and things like that.
Exactly. And this is a differentiation factor actually between us, and it's a strategic decision to go that way because we value very much the flexibility and the independence that you get when you build a website on your own. Of course, having all the connectivity issues solved by us.
Yeah. No, that was great. And definitely, before folks, use StayFi or do email marketing or any of those other strategies, website always comes first. So really important that, you pick which path is going to work best for you. And like Christos described, there's not a one size fits all best solution. Some folks hire agencies, some folks just build use Squarespace and just throw in a booking engine in the back of it, right? So there's lots of flexibility for how you want to approach building a website. And that also, we see that evolve over time, right? A lot of people start with something that's a little more cookie cutter, and then maybe at a certain point they hire an agency as they grow and see more success in the direct booking channel. One of the switching over to now, like, how do you actually start to get bookings through your website? One of the big reasons why we created StayFi is we believe, the best or one of the best sources for where you can start to drive more bookings is from repeat guests who already stayed and loved your properties, right? It's a lot harder when you're a new brand that nobody's heard of to go buy, let's say, a search ad or a Google or Facebook ad and put it in front of somebody who's never heard of you, never stayed with you, and convince them to come to your website and book. But once someone has come and stayed at one of your properties, loved it, it's a lot easier now that they've experienced it to start marketing to them to get them to come back, right? So that's really where StayFi comes in, as to start getting at that data. And the way we do that, like I mentioned before, is through the Wi-Fi. And it's just like logging into the Wi-Fi at a hotel, coffee shop, airport, where now we're not just collecting data from the booker, which you may or may not already have, depending on the OTA. We're going to collect data from everybody there. So if you have homes that sleep 5, 10, 15, 20 people, you can start to collect guest data from every single adult staying there and also get the right opt-in, as I know many of Hosthub's customers are in Europe, for instance. And obviously we need opt-in here in the US too, but I get this question about data privacy a lot more from our European customers. Make sure you get the right permissions to start marketing to these guests. So Wi-Fi is one way to collect data. There's definitely some other ones that StayFi can help with. One is reservation data. So we'll actually look through your Hosthub reservations, and if you have real emails associated with those, we can also integrate that data into our marketing tools. We have the ability to place sign-up forms on websites. So you build this great website with Hosthub, for instance. It's easy with StayFi to place like a pop-up to collect email or to place a checkbox, like a subscriber form in your website as well, where you can get opt-in from the guest to market to them. And with those, we see a lot of success with like give-get strategies. So for instance, I'm sure you've seen this on every e-commerce website under the sun, but sign up for our email, we'll send you a 10% off code, right? So in StayFi, it's super easy to set up that type of automation where someone submits their email in a form, then you trigger an email to them with that benefit. And then finally, I do see a lot of folks now collect emails through social media. So they'll do things like post on their Instagram story, like, hey, we have availability for Coachella. I saw this recently for a brand here in the US. And they had people just type in their email and then they would shoot them an email giving them more details, right? So there's all sorts of ways on social media to also engage with potential guests that are following your brand to get their email. And then finally, people may have existing email lists collected other ways historically. And of course, you can also like take some CSVs of, friends, families, folks that would want to subscribe to your email to kind of kickstart that data collection process. It's always nice to start with some like friends and family in your email list because when you start doing email marketing, it's important to have a high open and click-through rate. Just because once you start sending emails from your domain, if you have a lot of people unsubscribe or mark them as spam, it could permanently damage your sending reputation as an email marketing sender. So I always recommend folks when they get started to upload some data from folks that they know want to be in their campaigns, employees, some of your family members, just so that people are engaging with your content when you start email marketing. This is kind of a little more view of kind of where StayFi fits into this process. So first thing that folks do when it comes to building out their brand or starting this process of generating direct bookings is that great direct booking website, which Krista showed you. Then one of the advantages or things that StayFi brings to the table is to start introducing your brand to guests. I think one thing that we all know is that when people book on, let's say, Airbnb, they say they booked an Airbnb, right? They come and stay there. They say this is an Airbnb. And it's going to take several touch points to educate that type of guest that you're not a quote unquote Airbnb, that you're your own brand and that you manage these properties. And it's actually you, not Airbnb, that's responsible for their great experience there, right? So if you're giving guests these amazing stays, it's really a shame when all that credit is going to Airbnb, who only thing they did was facilitate the transaction and help that booker discover you, right? So with StayFi, we can provide one place to give you that branded touch point, which is obviously the guest logs into the Wi-Fi. It will show your brand on that captive portal. And then we also, through StayFi, for instance, you could trigger them an email through our email tool right when they log in, welcoming them to your brand, explaining who you are, that you're not Airbnb, and provide maybe some useful local recommendations, ways to contact you, etc. And that way you're introducing your brand not just to that booker, but all the guests staying there. And then we see a lot of other creative ways that hosts or property managers have been uh, incorporating their brand into the stay, whether that's branded materials in the home, digital guidebooks, printed out guidebooks, fridge magnets, swag that they let guests take away, like branded beach towels, things like that. So there's always clever and interesting ways we've seen operators start to incorporate their brand into the stay because it's going to take multiple impressions for a guest to realize that, hey, this is an Airbnb, this is this awesome brand that I love, and I definitely want to make sure I come and contact them next time when I want to come back. Or now, even better, I want to refer somebody else to come and stay here, right? Which is another great way to get more direct bookings, is not just those main guests, but of course, they want to refer their friends and family to come stay and have that amazing experience. And then one other thing I didn't touch on yet is that within StayFi, we also have this product called Homepage, which you can think of as like a link tree for your rentals. It's essentially the page the guests are taken to after they log into the Wi-Fi. It's what you see here on the left. It's a page where you can display all the useful links for this specific property. Things like a link to a guidebook, a link to book this property again. And then we have some upsell partners incorporated in here. So for instance, Viator, which is a global tour and activity marketplace, you can curate a list of tours and activities you want to recommend, have a button for that in here. And when they click it, look at this view on the right, where if they book any of these within 30 days, you get an 8% rev share, right? So again, you're bringing value to the guests by kind of showing them your favorite activities or tours in the area. And then, of course, there's also a revenue benefit for that recommendation as well. Therefore, kind of solidifying your local expertise and continuing to differentiate yourself from the OTA where the guest may have booked originally. Yeah, so it's a pretty simple process, at the end of the day, right? We're gonna collect guest data, do that a variety of ways. We're gonna set up some marketing, and I'm gonna really talk about how to automate that marketing, because that's the best way to get started, right? I think it can be a little intimidating when you want to get started, let's say with email marketing. How am I going to write a monthly newsletter, right? That seems maybe overwhelming, especially if you're operating a smaller business, maybe you still have a full-time job doing something else. I'm going to show you some tricks that can help you create some automation so you can sit down, write a few emails, and then trigger them in a series to every guest so that you're marketing all the time without, having to constantly create new content. And then finally, it can be helpful to offer incentives. I'd say the way that we see most people do pricing, it can be, people do it differently, but I usually see that kind of 15 to 18% average uh, commission that OTAs are taking, whether they take it from the guest or they all goes to you and then you pay them. There's different ways that different OTAs do it, but on the average, it's 15 to 18%. We see a lot of operators kind of split that pie between themselves and the guests. So naturally, we see prices are lower. Other folks will keep the prices at parity and then use some kind of like couponing or discounting to then offer folks to give that extra incentive. So different ways. Again, there's not, one right answer for everybody. Um, yeah, once you start collecting guest data, it's kind of important before we go into the actual content to kind of understand who your guests are, and that will inform how to market to them. So some things to think about are you a drive-to destination or a destination that people are flying to? When you have a drive-to destination, there's a lot more flexibility for instance, in last-minute promotions, because it's a lot easier for someone to get into a car and drive an hour to the beach than it is to, get on a plane and fly 6 hours to Hawaii, right? So you can use that information you know about your guests and kind of who they are, and that will influence the marketing. Another thing to consider is the seasonality of your destination. Are you a destination where you see a lot of people return like once a year, where anniversary booking can be really valuable to automate? Or is this a ski destination where people maybe visit three, or you see them visit 3 or 4 times a year? Are you marketing to traveling nurses who like stay longer but then come back again and again? There's all sorts of things to consider when it comes to that kind of guest persona that can help influence the right way to market to folks. And I'll talk about that in a second and some different campaign ideas. In StayFi, there's two kind of ways that we have to market to guests. One's email, which I'm going to talk a lot more about in a second. The other is text marketing. We do offer text marketing to anywhere in the world, so we can like handle any type of phone number. Text marketing in StayFi is just one way. So we have an autoresponder where if someone writes back, it will present them this message that will inform them the best way to contact you. The great thing about SMS is, while it has lower opt-in rates, maybe around 20 to 30%, it has much higher engagement rates. 95+% of them are read, and the click-through rates can be like 20, 30%, right? So SMS, we typically recommend people reserve for very like high value transactional content. Some great examples I've seen in SMS marketing include things like advertising last minute cancellation availability. So for instance, I saw someone canceled last minute for a Thanksgiving reservation, and it was like a house that sleeps 15 people. They sent the SMS, mark message out like a few weeks in advance saying like, hey, we have this availability, we can give you the special discount, and they got that booked right away. We saw another text message recently that was very successful around the eclipse in the US. So we had this eclipse throughout most of the center of the United States that was very popular, and someone said, hey, we only have 3 homes left for the eclipse. If you want one, you better take it. And that kind of FOMO messaging worked really well to kind of fill in those last availability that they had. And that's a theme I would put towards all of this type of messaging, especially if you're smaller, is that you want to look at also your calendar and availability and think strategically about filling those blocks of times. So if we go back to that guest segmentation idea, understanding the typical time between the booking, what is the booking window? If you're a drive-to destination, maybe it's a little shorter. If you're somewhere that people plan way out, it could be way longer, right? And so you also want to consider if I have some availability that's X weeks out, how can I use these channels to fill that before I may go to my other typical strategy of going to uh, into my pricing tool and lowering prices. Now I'm going to talk a little about email. Email gets a bad rap sometimes. People are like, does email marketing still work? I'd say, across all studies, especially in this industry, email marketing is still the highest ROI marketing channel, just because once you collect emails, the cost to have software to market them is very, very, very low. With StayFi, in our software, you could be paying 20, 30, 40 bucks a month for lists of, thousands of contacts that you can email as many times as you want. So it's still a very low cost marketing channel versus things like paid digital advertising. So when it comes to the most common types of campaigns that we see in StayFi, the first one, the one that we recommend everybody who uses our Wi-Fi product use, which you don't have to, you can use our email tools as a standalone tool, but if you do use our Wi-Fi product, it's a Wi-Fi welcome series. So you can imagine you have 6 guests show up at your property, they all log onto the Wi-Fi. We want to trigger them an email right at that point when they log in, and you want to share all that essential information about your property, a link to maybe that upsell homepage we have, a link to maybe your guidebook or your recommendations, some information how to contact you, and start to tell the story of your brand and how you're not Airbnb, right? The other thing to note there is, for most operators, this will be their first time marketing to the non-booking guest, right? So if you have those 6 people, 5 of them had no part of the booking process, probably. They really have no idea who you are. They definitely think you're quote unquote Airbnb. Now you can start telling your story. And whether that story is, we're a professional property manager with 300 villas in Greece, or we're a husband and wife that operate this cottage, you can tell that story and engage guests with that. And I think that's really where you can personalize it in a way where you really start to drive that wedge that you're not an OTA, right? And that there are benefits for both you and the guest for booking directly. You can then program subsequent emails. So a common thing we'll see is email at welcome, email at 7 to 10 days asking how their stay was, email 30 days out letting them know like great reasons to return, and maybe a promo code, right? That's a pretty classic series. You can spend 2 hours writing 3 emails, could take a lot less time than that, and you'd be done. One other thing we see here is you don't need to use the templates that we have in StayFi. You can write plain text emails, especially as a smaller operator that can be very effective. So you write the email from the first person. It's like more like, hey, first name, my name is blank. I run the X cottage and wherever, here's a little about us, and here's how to rebook with us. Those one-to-one emails work really well. Gmail, which is what most people use for email marketing, is going to usually treat that as not a promotional email. So if you have that, most people have that inbox, promotions inbox. When you write the plain text email, it's typically going to go into the main inbox and have a higher open rate. That's also a great way if you don't have a lot of resources or you don't feel comfortable with design, just stick to plain text, right? And that way you can write something very simple. You can have ChatGPT help you write something very simple, and it can go out to every guest automatically and just introducing who you are. If you do have a newsletter sign up, you definitely want to have an automated trigger then, just so that the worst thing to do in email marketing is to collect emails and never email. Because when you do email, let's say this 5,000 emails you've collected for 3 years, there's a higher probability those people will mark it as spam or unsubscribe, which will then trigger issues with potentially Gmail or Yahoo or whatever, email systems they use, that like you're not a trusted sender of email. So that can be a problem if you've been hoarding emails for a long time, never sent anything. Then when you do, it's not well received, right? Because they forgot that they signed up for you. So it's just really important if you add these automated touch points, you just make sure that guests remember who you are, and that when you send another email in the future, there is less likelihood they'll unsubscribe. Booking anniversary I mentioned. We also have the ability to set this up in StayFi. So you can say, either when I got the email from my Hosthub system or when I got the email from StayFi, I want to send an email 9 months from that date and let them know, like, hey, you last stayed with us, in 3 months from now. Do you want to book again before we're all booked up? That kind of FOMO-ish marketing can be very effective, right? Especially if you have some very high seasonality times of year where you want to tell people, hey, you better reserve this for next year, or else you may not be able to, stay with us for July 4th or this other holiday. So kind of know your calendar, that booking window, and then kind of figure out what an anniversary email could look like to help trigger those at the right time. So somebody, goes, oh, I do want to go skiing next year in Austria, so I better email them about reserving this favorite place that we stayed at. Post-departure drip that really fits into the welcome series. And then the last one is, sometimes people like to do these re-engagement campaigns where they segment out people that have never opened or clicked their emails, kind of email them to see if they want to stay subscribers. And if they don't, you can call them from your list. As you get really large email lists, this can be a great way to control cost because you typically are going to pay based on the number of subscribers. So if you have a way to kind of say like, this 20% of our list is never going to engage with us again, we might as well, reconfirm that and then remove them. The last one I'll just add here, which I don't see, which we should definitely add, is things that are very targeted around certain dates or occupancy availability. We do see this pattern where as people, as certain days approach that are not booked, people have this tendency to lower prices to try to drive those OTA bookings. We want to help you fill that calendar gap before you have to do that. So you can keep your occupancy rate high as well as keep your prices higher. So if you have some weekends that typically are full and they're not, definitely try to go to your list and market those there before you, start marking down the price to try to drive a last minute Airbnb or booking email. I mean, booking.com booking. Yeah. This is just kind of re-explaining what I was showing in the last slide, which is start with marketing automation and customer journeys, right? So especially if you haven't done a lot of email marketing, start with a series of plain text emails that get sent out on a schedule. Something very easy to do. It might take an hour to build that in our tool. Then later, you can layer in those one-off campaigns. So we typically recommend sending a monthly type of newsletter once you get to that 500 or 1,000 subscriber point. Until then, you can get away with a few automations, just because as your list grows, the value of each campaign you sent will go up, right? So if you send a campaign to 1,000 versus 10,000 versus 100,000 people, the amount of time to build that newsletter is pretty much the same, but the return on investment you're going to get when you have 100,000 emails is going to be way higher than when you have 1,000. So about 500 to 1,000 is typically worth it. And then in one-time campaigns, because they're not automated, that's where you can really lean into the timely content. So, seasonal activities, reasons why people should come visit you, festivals, whatever. New homes, promotions, alerts, all those things are great things to include in one-time campaigns. Here's just an example of what content can look like. This is using one of the templates in our tool where, it's very clean. There's a few sections here all about, their property management service, introducing a blog post. And then obviously, they really push their concierge in all of their content because that's a big differentiator from the OTAs because they have this concierge service because they're more of a luxury brand. Yep. So just wrapping up, people ask us what are ways to even increase the conversion rate. Obviously, incentives are a big one. I think that really goes back to your pricing strategy. Are you kind of at parity with OTAs, and then you can offer discounts to kind of take away that use that 10, 15, 18% buffer, or do you want to just discount further below, even lower? It's really up to you. We do see some other folks do things like free extra nights, which is interesting, or offering things like late checkout, early check-in for direct bookings, which they wouldn't get through the OTA. So there are things that are like other types of offers, activities that are not just messing with the booking rate, which is, I think, a great way to approach it as well. I think, one thing that we focus a lot on when it comes to like benefits from this, some of them are obvious, like we talked about earlier. I think the one that we often forget is we often just think in terms of substitution. Like, I'm going to replace booking.com booking with a direct booking. And so all I'm going to do is save that 15%. I think if you think strategically around text and email, question is how can I fill nights that otherwise would not have booked at all, or I would have had to lower my prices for, right? So really pushing to book those unbooked nights can be a great way where you'll see even higher ROI because you're getting bookings that otherwise would have never have happened. So it's way more than just that 15 or 18%. It's actually the whole value of this booking you can drive through your own channel. Sweet. Hosthub StayFi integration works fantastic. Number one reason people do it is we'll help you get any relevant marketing data out of Hosthub into our email marketing tool. We also do some occupancy alerting around the number of folks in the property. And as a really great added benefit, if you connect Hosthub to StayFi, the email marketing tool becomes free up to 200 contacts. So, our email marketing tool, very similar to like MailChimp or Constant Contact. Basically, you can just start emailing for free to a list of up to 200 contacts to kind of get your feet wet without having to pay for that on a monthly basis. And then it's only $7.50 from 2 to 500. So still relatively inexpensive to start emailing as much as you'd like. Sweet. So that wraps up the presentation. And I know we have two promo codes for you here from StayFi. When you go to stayfi.com and create an account, if you use code HostHub, you'll get an additional 50% off the first 3 months of our service. If you go to stayfi.com/demo, you can book a demo with us or attend one of our weekly webinars. StayFi does work anywhere in the world. There is a slightly different process to set up our Wi-Fi tool if you're not in the US. So if you book a demo or attend a webinar, they can explain how all of that works. And then Christos, do you just want to explain how this promo code works for you guys?
Yes, again, with the promo code, webinar StayFi 30, it's just for everyone that is attending this webinar. You will get a 30% discount for the first 3 months for your Hosthub subscription. The only thing that you need to do is to use this code until the end of April at hosthub.com when you are registering there.
Awesome. Well, I don't see any questions. So people were just very shy today, which is totally fine. Or we did an amazing job at explaining everything, which is probably what happened. Sweet. So I will wrap this up today. And like I mentioned before, this will get posted on StayFi's YouTube channel, and then we'll go out to everyone who registered. So if there's anything that you want to catch up on or you missed, you can go back and watch it, as well as these promo codes will be included. So thanks again to everybody for attending. And if you need anything, you can just go to our respective websites and reach out, and I'm sure we can get you the answer ASAP. So thanks again, everybody, and thank you, Christos.
Thank you all. Thank you very much, Arthur.
Mhm.